you've cleaned up your diet, you're eating less sugar, maybe even you're fasting a little bit, but your weight is stuck, your cravings are alive and well, and your energy still tanking by 2 p.m. So here are the four types of foods that keep you insulin resistant and stymie your weight loss solutions. And these four foods keep you insulin resistant, even if they're deemed quote unquote healthy. So you've cleaned up your diet, you're eating less sugar, maybe even you're fasting a little bit, but your weight is stuck, your cravings are alive and well, and your energy still tanking by 2 p.m. So, why is this? Because even when we think we're eating healthy, there are certain foods that are often praised by the mainstream nutrition folks out there that can keep insulin elevated, block fat burning, and stall metabolic healing and stall weight loss. So, in today's episode, we're diving into the four foods that keep you insulin resistant, even if they wear the health halo. These are the metabolic landmines that most people walk right into. So, if you've plateaued or if you feel frustrated, this one's absolutely for you. So, welcome back to the Obesity Project. Today, episode 44. My name again is Dr. Mark Shankman. I'm an oral and maxillofacial surgeon that has taken on the challenge of educating people on diet, on insulin resistance, and all the chronic diseases and disorders that come as a result of insulin resistance. So, thank you so much for joining me today. So, in part one today, we're talking about the insulin trap, why food quality trumps calories. So here's what most people don't realize is that it's not just sugar that spikes insulin. It's certain combination of foods that overstimulate the system, especially when eaten frequently. So remember that insulin isn't just about blood sugar. It does a number of other very valuable things. So it's a storage hormone, it's a fat blocker, it's an anabolic process or hormone that creates growth. And it's also very deeply tied to inflammation, energy, and aging. And that's what's really critical. So if your insulin levels stay high, your body cannot burn fat. It turns off lipolysis, it turns off the process of burning or oxidizing fat. So no matter how healthy you are, and no matter how healthy your diet appears on the surface, high insulin levels will eliminate your ability to burn fat. So let's break down the four biggest offenders that masquerade as sort of quote unquote wellness foods, but secretly are working against your metabolism. So, food number one, whole wheat bread and heart healthy grains. You've swapped your white bread for whole wheat. Maybe you're eating oatmeal, whole grain wraps, quinoa bowls, all the foods that you were told are good carbs. But here's the problem. Whole grains can still produce a strong insulin response, especially when eaten alone or frequently. They may be slower to spike glucose, but they keep insulin chronically elevated, and that's what's driving fat storage. So, studies show that whole wheat bread spikes insulin nearly as much as white bread in many individuals and may even suppress fat oxidation for hours after the meal. So many people with insulin resistance can't handle even moderate amounts of these starches until they restore their insulin sensitivity. So whole grains aren't evil, but if you're metabolically compromised, they may be metabolic kryptonite. All right, food number two, low fat yogurt and protein snacks. Sounds perfectly healthy, right? High protein, low fat yogurt, protein bars, Greek yogurt with fruit. Well, here's the catch. Most of these products are full of added sugars, artificial sweeteners, or insulin stimulating additives. And even without sugar, whey protein isolate in these foods spikes insulin significantly, sometimes even more than white bread itself, which is sort of equivalent to eating a tablespoon of sugar. And so when you remove fat, you remove satiety. You remove the trigger that tells you you've eaten enough. So you're hungrier sooner, you snack more, and you trigger insulin much more often. So insulin resistance isn't just about what spikes insulin, it's also about how often you spike it. And the truth of the matter is, more frequent stimulation equals more resistance over time. All right, food number three, seed oils, otherwise known as vegetable oils. Yet these oils do not come from vegetables; they come from seeds, and they are industrially created. These are not natural. It's not like you can squeeze a soybean and get a bunch of soybean oil out of it. So seed oils, they don't raise glucose, they don't raise insulin directly, so why in the heck are seed oils like canola, soybean, corn, sunflower? Why are these on the list? Well, mostly because they drive metabolic dysfunction, oxidative stress, and inflammation, all of which worsen insulin resistance. And these PUFAs, I love the term, or polyunsaturated fats, PUFAs, from seed oils get incorporated into our cell membranes and they impair insulin receptor function. They also interfere with mitochondrial energy production, making making you more insulin resistant at the cellular level. And frankly, they're everywhere. They're in salad dressings, they're in healthy chips, quote unquote healthy chips. They're in protein bars, roasted nuts, store-bought hummus. And you don't need to track every gram. Just simply swap them out. Cook with butter, ghee, avocado oil, or olive oil instead. All right, food number four, frequent snacks, even healthy ones. So things like almonds, protein bars, rice cakes, trail mix, even some keto snacks. And here's the truth, snacking keeps insulin elevated, period. Every time you eat, even a little, insulin rises. So if you're constantly grazing, even on clean foods, your pancreas never gets a break. You stay in the what's called the fed state, and your body never gets to tap into stored fat. And if you don't tap into stored fat, you can't lose weight. They simply go hand in hand. So insulin resistance isn't just what you eat, it's also about when you eat. And healthy food plus poor timing equals stalled progress, stalled weight loss, stalled insulin sensitivity, reversing insulin resistance. All right, so how do we go about fixing it? We're going to do some simple swaps for insulin sensitive eating. So here's what you can do today. Right away, you can do this immediately. First, you want to replace refined or frequent grains with things like the occasional sweet potato, squash, or low sugar, low glycemic index fruits. But you can only do this when your insulin sensitivity has been restored. That's a really important fact. Also, you want to ditch the low fat dairy and you want to switch it for things like full fat Greek yogurt without all the added sugar and without fruit at the bottom. And you can also switch it out for unsweetened coconut yogurt, but you got to watch the ingredients. You got to make sure there's no artificial sweeteners or added sugar. You need to ditch those seed oils. Seed oils are very, very dangerous for our bodies. The unsaturated fats have double bonds in them that can easily be oxidized and turned into some very dangerous chemicals in our bodies. So we need to ditch those seed oils out and we need to switch them for olive oil, butter, ghee, tallow, avocado oil, uh, uh, coconut oil. All of these things are healthy replacements. And then finally, we need to stop grazing. We need to stop eating all the time. And we need to really focus in on 2 or 3 very structured meals. We need to compress our eating windows. So maybe think about a 16-8, fasting period and a 8-hour eating window. Compressing that eating window will do tremendous things and allow your insulin levels to drop. And then, just like I mentioned, we need to also let insulin fall between meals. The best way to do that is compress the eating windows, but also eating a high fat, low carbohydrate diet. So, this isn't about perfection, it's about removing the blockers that keep your metabolism stuck. So, you can't heal insulin resistance if you keep triggering insulin 6, 7, 8 times a day, even with healthy food. And you're not going to lose the weight if you keep those insulin levels high. So if you've been stuck, plateaued, or doing all the quote unquote right things without progress, chances are your hormones are still overloaded. And these 4 types of foods, or these 4 food patterns, are the hidden drivers. And once you stop feeding the resistance, your body can finally start burning the fat it's been saving and healing the inflammation that's been simmering underneath. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for episode 45, where we're going to talk about the 1 week reset, breaking the cycle of cravings and crash the insulin curve. So we'll give you a roadmap to getting back on track. Try to say that 3 times fast in just 7 days. And I'm going to have some handouts for you as well. So you're not broken. You're just eating what the system told you was healthy. So let's rewrite those instructions or those directions. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and comment. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Do all the things you know you're supposed to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.